Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today, I'm excited to share my journey in instructional design, highlighting key aspects of my online course, Preservation Essentials. Through this presentation, I aim to showcase the thought process behind my design choices, giving you a glimpse into my professional identity. This presentation revolves around the creation of my online course, Preservation Essentials. To craft an effective learning experience, I embarked on a journey inspired by my past experiences, creativity, learning, and a passion for impactful education. I wanted entry-level and aspiring museum professionals to have a safe environment to learn and practice cultural conservation skills working with different artifacts from history. I drew inspiration from the MS Learning Design and Technology course design, past online courses I've participated in, and my recent experience as a higher education professional, creating courses on Canvas, Blackboard, and Moodle LMS. I'd originally built a course in Brightspace D2L utilizing the free trial. This was a helpful experience and exposed me to this new platform. However, when the time came to confirm which LMS I would use, I went with Canvas because of its straightforward approach in designing, adding students, ease of features like embedding resources and videos, and the functionality of the free trial. A key design choice I made for my course was limiting the links I used outside of readings. I utilized the embed feature heavily when I added in videos and multimedia, and when adding links, I ensured they were listed in the document name and not just linked with the prompt. This is best showcased in the module resources page. Here, I embedded the links for the YouTube videos and provided labeled links for the readings. When adding in the YouTube videos, I originally noticed the size. I learned how to edit this in the embed code and to use a 56 by 215 ratio when embedding YouTube videos. This ensured that the video did not take up the whole page, which would have been counterintuitive when I wanted the resources to appear less overwhelming. These choices were all inspired once I transferred the content from Module 1 into Canvas from Brightspace and started building out the course. I realized I needed to make the module drop-downs less overwhelming for learners. Rather than leaving all the assignments and readings with just a title, I applied a similar naming convention for resources, assignments, and learning activities, and consolidated pages. This improved the amount of tabs that would appear under each module when learners engaged with them. I also chose to lock access to course resources, Module 1 and Module 2, until learners reviewed the Welcome to the Course page. I did this so that learners would understand how the course worked and see where they could ask questions before just diving into the module. Additionally, the course wrap-up was locked until learners completed the assignments, learning activities, and collections management assessment. This ensured that learners would at least complete the work in the course before jumping to the course evaluation and conclusion. Each design choice I made was deliberate, aiming to engage learners and facilitate a smooth and enjoyable learning experience for them. As I was working through the design of the course, I was also working on developing the course content and artifacts that learners would review. In this next part, I'll dive into each of the strategies I employed and how the artifact represents a critical phase in mine and the course's development, showcasing how I use instructional design principles and the technological capabilities of Canvas. The Ethics and Safety and Collections Management presentation was created with the goal to help learners identify and integrate ethics and safety principles into their work handling artifacts. This is an interactive presentation featuring narration with captions added below. The knowledge checks take the form of a short unscored quiz featuring multiple choice questions, checkboxes, and a fill in the blank and a matching activity. Designing this presentation took some creativity when adding in interactive elements. The ethical guidelines can be quite tedious to explain, and originally the presentation would have been quite text-heavy without any interaction points. I added narration for certain sections throughout and utilized Write 360's accordion process and tabs to break up the content into digestible sections. Once learners work through the presentation, they can review it as often as they like. I wrapped up the presentation with a narrated conclusion that learners can listen to or read along utilizing the caption space underneath. This conclusion features a call to action to use what they have learned in this presentation throughout the rest of the modules and their professional work. My next artifact, Become a Collections Management Expert, was especially fun to create. It was built on the 7TAPS micro-learning app platform. I built it using the free trial. The bulk of the content is delivered using 7TAP's text-to-AI voice feature. Initially, I was concerned using this since I did not want the voice to sound too mechanical. I was pleasantly surprised when the voice sounded human with some hints of electronic influence. Let's take a listen.
Preservation, conservation, management, display, and intellectual use.
I decided that the voice was human enough that it would not distract from the content being presented. While captions are going to happen automatically, I added in the transcript to the designated caption area on both videos, so that learners who want to follow along with the captions can do so. The presentation content also contained one bulleted list and one knowledge check asking learners to identify what the primary function of a collection management system is. Learners need to answer this question correctly before moving on to the last AI text-to-voice video. The end of the presentation features a call to action for learners to click a Learn More button, leading them to a page with more information on additional benefits to collection management systems and policies. The Exploring a Virtual Museum learning activity was another one that I enjoyed creating. This activity was built on ArtStep's VR/AR platform. I constructed a virtual museum with 4 rooms. The main room featured some instructions on how to navigate the rooms and what to look for. Navigating around the table, there are videos on the wall that learners can engage with and watch. These videos are captioned and are also featured on the module resources page for easier access. A feature of the museum that adds another layer of interactivity beyond just moving around watching videos was adding in different artifacts into each room that learners can click on. Rotate and read how it was displayed and what to look out for when preserving an artifact like that. This is featured both in the best practices room and the room of costly mistakes. To find 3D generated artifacts, I utilized Adobe Stock to download and get the rights to each artifact I featured in the museum. While I was unable to add the full detail of each artifact due to technical limitations of my own machines, I was happy that there was at least an image that learners could interact with, even if it was not as detailed. The message of proper artifact handling was still conveyed through the text and the interaction with the object. This project was my first attempt at using VR in a learning experience and has opened the pathway for me to explore more uses for this and other emerging technologies. Another first for me involved using another emerging technology, online gamification. This came in the form of using the online platform Geniality to create my cultural preservation challenge. Pulling inspiration from how I designed my VR activity, this learning activity moved learners through 4 different museum rooms: fragile artifacts, a messy collection, ethical dilemmas, and environmental challenges. Each room, learners were presented with a gallery setting and had to answer questions that fell under each category for the corresponding room they were in. Each correct answer moved them through the room. Incorrect answers led them to lose a museum piece. Learners could not continue until they answered correctly. When answered correctly, learners would hear a ding indicating they passed that question. At the end, learners are presented with a congratulatory message that encourages them to continue their great work. I used a template to provide me with the layout and edited different interaction points and pathways within the game so that it would flow how I wanted it to. The final product is a fun an engaging game that helps learners test the artifact handling, conservation, and collection management skills without the risk of actually losing the artifact. Both the VR and gaming elements of my content, as well as the rest of Module 1 and 2, blend into the final learning activity, Conservation Science Practice. This activity features 5 scenarios. Each scenario focuses on a primary environmental or storage problem and one impacted artifact. Learners have to decide how they want to preserve the artifact they are assigned to using what they learned throughout the modules, but especially in Presentation 2.1, applying conservation techniques. These scenarios are branching. Learners who answer correctly the first time are provided feedback on how the answer is correct and what it does to the artifact. They are then taken to the next scenario without having to navigate the second branch. Incorrect answers are provided feedback on why that is incorrect before being prompted to continue. The second branch is for learners who answer the first branch of the scenario incorrectly. The level features what happened to the artifact after the incorrect answer was applied and gives 2 to 3 choices for how to proceed. If learners choose the correct answer, this round they are provided feedback on the impact of the answer. Right is right, and, same as in the first branch, are moved to the next scenario. If a learner answers the second branch incorrectly, they are taken to the final stage. In this stage, they are told that their artifact has been damaged beyond repair and they need to redo the scenario. Learners who complete the activity are presented with a closing page stating they maintained a score of 90% and are reminded to screenshot the page and submit that for credit. Once I made a plan for how the branching would work, I applied the same structure throughout the scenarios. Additionally, each character in the scenario is different and the background is closely related to the artifact or environment that their respective scenario is placed in. I was cautious when choosing reactions to not choose ones that would insult or discourage the learner. For the most part, I avoided over-the-top reactions and stuck to the more subtle ones. There were a few exceptions. Like the presentations and other content built on Rise 360, I utilized the theme feature to apply consistent coloring throughout the content that is featured on the Preservation Essentials course. My journey into creating the Preservation Essentials course has equipped me with invaluable insights and honed my skills in instructional design. I've had the opportunity to explore emerging technologies and apply some of those to the content that I created. Through this process, I became quite comfortable managing and building a course in Canvas and worked to apply feedback from colleagues in the design and edit to the course. This reinforced the importance of incorporating quality feedback to my design process and the need for flexibility throughout. Crafting this course has been enlightening and rewarding and is an accomplishment that I am proud of. I hope this presentation has provided you with a glimpse into my approach to my work as an instructional designer. Thank you for joining me on this walkthrough.